tour of the App Engine and demo as well. We're going to cover briefly what is Google App Engine, what it's about, what it does, the kind of things you can do with it. We're also going to go through a case study demo as well for an MSc project who developed a web application called Local Immunity. And we're going to see how to upload that to the cloud and get it running in a Google App Engine instance. So we'll create a project, we'll upload it, we'll preview it, see if it's all okay, and then we'll deploy it. The kind of things you would probably be expected to do as part of the Google coursework. So, what is Google App Engine? Basically, it's a cloud platform to make it easy to build web applications, and then have those web applications actually provisioned in the cloud so they can be accessed from the outside world. So, the process is designed to be as simple and straightforward as possible. Having said that, there are a few niggles. The interface can be a bit unwieldy, a little daunting the first time you look at it, and you try and do stuff with it. But hopefully today we'll try and demystify some of that and show you what you can do. So it provides a dynamic web server as an environment into which you can put your code and then run that code in the cloud. And it supports a lot of common web technology. So obviously for this, we're going to be doing it in Python. It also supports Java, a number of other languages as well. For the server side, for the coursework, obviously has to be Python. You're not limited to the libraries they do have on the platform. You can also upload your own Python libraries if you want to, but they have to be Python, pure Python. It can't be any C or anything like that. But it provides a framework into which you can develop web applications. And we'll see an example of that with a case study demo. So one of the neat features you may come across in your travels investigating Google App Engine, it deals with things in an automatic way. So in the cloud, as you need something, it can elastically sort of provision a number of instances to deal with load, depending on how busy the system actually is, and deals with things such as balancing those instances as and when they're required. So when you actually start to use it, you need to think about things such as how you're going to store your data in the cloud, and there's a number of models you can do that with. There's an SQL model, so you can use SQL if you're okay with SQL. Who here is okay with SQL? Anyone here have any experience? Okay, so you could do that if you want to. And then there's also a NoSQL model as well, which requires you not to know any SQL at all. It also integrates with the rest of the Google ecosystem of products, facilities through the Google Cloud integration. And there's a concept you'll come across when you read the documentation called buckets. So when it comes to actually using the Google App Engine, any piece of data that you decide to upload into the cloud, could be code, could be anything else, ends up sitting in a bucket, a container that contains all these things. And we'll see how that operates a bit later. So this is one sort of thing that sits kind of in the middle of this big ecosystem of products. So who here has heard of this kind of way of looking at cloud? Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service? A few hands? Okay. I'll give a quick overview then. Crikey, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. At the lower end then you have things such as Amazon Web Services, and they provide an infrastructure onto which you can deploy applications. So things like operating system instances. You can just launch a number of operating system instances. Back when I was using it, it was EC2. I'm not sure if it still is. You can provision instances as and when you require them, based on a number of operating systems. Ubuntu is one of the ones I was using when I was using Amazon Web Services. And then slightly above that, you have the Google App Engine, which is providing a platform as a service. So not just providing this, a basic infrastructure, but also providing a development framework into which you can put your applications. So when you code your applications, you have to think about making them adhere to the platform framework that's required by Google App Engine. That's not as onerous as it sounds. In fact, a lot of web applications you can more or less upload directly into the cloud, into the Google App Engine with a few minor changes and additions, you can get them working. Then on the top level, you have software as a service, and that's things like Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets, and that's all running in the cloud as a software service itself, which is running on a platform, which is running on an infrastructure. So when you develop your applications on the Google App Engine, they'll effectively be sitting at the top level, software as a service, because you'll be providing your web instance, your web server via a cloud instance, run So one thing you should be aware of is that there are quotas available, free quotas available on a daily basis. So it doesn't cost you anything to use at a base level. But the more features you use, the more you use it, the more you can sort of bump into these quotas and start to have to pay money. So it's something to take into account when you're designing your application as to what kind of requirements you're going to need, trying to make it fit within those quotas. If you really want to, you can go ahead and pay for more facilities on this. It won't count towards the marks, as you point out, but if you feel it's necessary for your application, you can do that. But by no means is that mandatory at all. You should be able to cope with what's actually provided. So you can store up to 5 gigabytes on a free basis. You can have up to 1 gigabyte a day coming into the service and out of it. There's a number of operations, which won't go into in any detail, which gives you a number of limits on those operations. There's 20,000 operations a day for the Class A set of operations, Class B operations, 50,000. So one thing you have to investigate is the quotas and how your application would meet or fall under those quotas perhaps. There's a lot more quotas as well. As you're running your application, as we'll see, you can actually check to see what quotas are being used up and how far you've got to go before you use them all up. And as I said, your daily quotas, they reset more or less every day. So on the next day, they reset and then you have all these quotas back again. But when I've been using Google App Engine, I have not really found it to be that restrictive, at least for simple applications. So the interface looks a bit like this. This is one sub-menu of the interface to give you a broad idea of what it looks like when you're using it. So you have the main menu over there on the left, and I'll be covering each of these as we go through the demo, so it's a good idea to cover them now. The main menu provides access to all the different kinds of things you can do, such as billing, if you want to look at the billing aspect. You can look at the development side of using the Google App Engine, uploading code, that kind of thing. You can have an overview of all your projects that are actually sitting in the cloud. You can also create projects as well, which we'll see later. You can launch a cloud shell, which actually gives you an interface into the cloud, which gives you a command line interface which you can use to actually access the instance, and then sort of use your code, get it running, put it into the right state. You can even have editors in there like Nano and so on and so forth to do basic operations on things. Have sub-menu there as well. If you want to, when you've got your thing running in the cloud, you can then preview the web service running. You can just there with each of these as we come across them. So let's have a quick look at the case study demo. Now, this is really just to get you started. It's not going to give you a complete overview of the Google App Engine. It's just the basics, just a few steps. And the route through that I will take is one way to get the code uploaded into the cloud and running. There are others. So yes, you will need to investigate further, and of course that's part of the project. You'll have to look at investigating and seeing what's available and what kind of applications you can develop in it, and tie that into what you actually want to write and deploy in the cloud. So the case that we'll be looking at is an MSc project that was written by Suma Sundararajan, local amenities map, right? We'll have a quick look at that in a minute. Basic web application, uses Python, uses JavaScript. You can take a look at it. It's available on GitHub, and it shows you basically local amenities by postcode. So you can quickly log in. You can give it a postcode and show you a Google map. And I'll show you that now of amenities that are local to you. I can find my mouse cursor, which has disappeared. Oh, there it is. So it looks a bit like this. This is going to be tricky. I should probably mirror my display actually. Right, okay, so here's the application. Running in the cloud, and what we can do is we can log into it. It's using my Google account here to log in, so that's fine. So I actually created a Google Gmail account here, well, Google account, just for the purposes of sharing with it and doing the other bits of the demo. Now we've logged in, we can now go to search, and this is something that is actually running directly off of Google App Engine at the moment. It's been deployed for about a year, it's just been sitting there. Anyone could actually come across it and use it if they wanted to. So here it's centered in London. So let's go to University of Southampton. Let's see what's around University of Southampton. Here we go. Right, so as you can see, quite simple. All the boxes are ticked at the bottom there. You might not be able to read those, so I'll read them out. The boxes are ticked general practitioner, train station, supermarket, schools. You can just see them highlighted on the map there. And we can do things like scroll around, like this. Here you can see, ironically, it's not using Google Maps, it's using OpenStreetMap to provide the maps. Interesting design decision, go ahead. We can zoom out, we can see more of these. So you can see there's an awful lot of schools around here. I wonder if that's right. Yeah, there's a school on the high school campus. You can see there's a number of supermarkets, and I think by supermarkets they also mean convenience stores as well. So yeah, so that's running Python on the server side, JavaScript on the client side. The JavaScript's querying the server, the Python side of the server side is using Python, getting results and displaying it to the user. So that's a quick overview of what the local amenities application does. So how's it being implemented? Well, on the server side, it uses something called Jinja 2. This is a Python template engine. So instead of having to laboriously construct all of your HTML on the server side and then have that thrown to the client, it's using templates which it injects. You can inject various variables and stuff to do processing. So it makes designing web applications a little easier in certain circumstances. And it gives you a separation of concern between what the HTML is kind of trying to do and also what the server side is trying to do. There's also the Google Web App 2 Lightweight Python Web Framework, and that's basically giving you the kinds of things you'd expect to find in a web server, and you can use that to actually just host effectively your web application. I don't think that's actually the code that we're looking at is too concerned about, because it's basically what's being used. It's using the cloud, the Google Cloud Data Store, to store all its stats data, which is the Google Query Language, which is used actually within the application to query the data. It's using some extensions to cascading style sheets on the web to do its style and presentation. It's using the extension there is the LESS extension, which is a higher level set of extensions to CSS. It's got loads of images on the server, of course. It's also got this key file here, app.yaml, which is basically the configuration glue that tells the Google App Engine where everything is, what it should be using, what libraries it's using. Then that's used, you can just use that, you'll see later, to tell Google App Engine what it should be looking at. We'll have a look at that. On the client side then, it has JavaScript. So what it's done is the JavaScript's effectively sitting on the server, but it's being sent to the client, and then that's effectively doing all these wonderful things and pretty JavaScripty things you can see. It's using libraries like jQuery, Bootstrap, Wow, Creative, Classy, a couple of others. And those have been hosted on the server itself. And then it also has some custom search code as well, which is actually the main bulk of the application. So the source code, when you actually look at it, actually I will show you directly. Looks a bit like this. So in GitHub, the project looks like this. It's got an image directory which is full of images, JavaScript directory for the JavaScript libraries. It's got styles in there as well. So that actually has the CSS, which is basic CSS. It has some less high-level CSS as well. It has a couple of fonts as well that it's been uploaded. There we go, right. And then it also has these templates. And it just has two, one on the index page and one on the search page. And then what the server does is it serves up those HTML, and then using Ginger 2, it then injects. If I can find it. Okay. Well, anyway, those are the templates. It's got a license as well. Always a good idea when you put something on GitHub. Always put a license on there if it's public. In this case, they decided to use the Apache license to distribute the code. There's a blank README. That's actually not a good idea. You should always put something in the README. It's got this magical app.yaml, the interface to Google App Engine. And it's got the main code here with a set of functions in it. Actually does all the main parts of the processing. And then it has a data models file here as well, which actually tells the application the data model for the application, which the application on. And so you can see here the train station has a name, it has a latitude and a longitude, and there's also supermarket and school. That actually will get stored in the data store, Google Cloud Data Store. So that's the application. And then, as you said, there's this magical YAML file, which actually just takes what's in the actual application code and just tells Google where stuff is. So we have the application, which we like Immunity, using version 1 in this case. The runtime is using Python 2, which of course should be used for the coursework. The API version of the Google App Engine version 1 that it's using. There's a later version, but it's designed to use Google Application Engine version 1. It is thread safe. So when Google App Engine is actually provisioning the instance, it knows that it can be thread safe. It has a number of libraries that it's using, so it's just saying to Google App Engine, hey, this is effectively the libraries I'm using for this, and these are built into the Google Application Engine framework. So you have Web App 2 and Ginger 2 there. You'll notice, of course, that they're actually deciding to use the latest version of each of these. This could be a problem, because the web application was actually developed about just over a year ago, I think. And so if these were to evolve and the versions were to change, and it was always going to be the latest version and the API change, could run into a problem. So it might have been effective design decision perhaps just to specify specific versions of those libraries. And the other thing you do, and this is kind of where the magic happens, as it were, these are the handlers for the web application, so what actually is going to happen to each of these different resources. So the URL styles, JS and ImageStir, are basically just static directories. It's just saying these are directories that can be accessed. And then you have the URL, basically anything else at the root gets directed to the main application. And that's it. So what I'm going to do now, before I go on any questions, no? So, the case study demo, I'm going to quickly go through it in slides, and then what we'll do is I'll go through the demo actually live as well after I've done that. So, getting started looks a bit like this. Now, as I said, this only shows one way to do it. There are many other ways of doing it. This is a very basic way of doing it, but there are others. So, the first thing I needed to do when I was doing it for the method I'm using is I need to install the Google Cloud Platform SDK and do that on my local machine. That enables me to create an application and upload the code to Google Cloud Framework, Cloud Platform. And I did that on Mac OS X, as you'll see later, which is my laptop. Then I logged into a Google account. Then I went to console.cloud.google.com. And then I created a project. You get it, effectively you can specify a name, but you will get a unique ID, which specifies it's completely unique to the project. And then what you do then is you can have a number of choices for how you upload your source code into Google App Engine. You can either import directly from your GitHub account, so you can just you can log into GitHub via Google Cloud Platform, and then basically say, take all the code directly from that, put it into a bucket in the Google App Engine. And then the other option is you can create an empty clone of the Cloud repository and then just basically check that out and then put some code in it and then put that code back in. or you can upload directly from your local machine from an existing GitHub project that you've cloned, and that's the method I'll be using. So, what I'll be doing is I'll be cloning that project onto my local machine. I'm then going to initialize the Google Cloud API for that project. I'm then going to tell Git that whenever credentials are required to log in, to use gcloud to basically handle that for me. This is actually quite good because it means you don't have to worry about logging to your phone. Once that's it, it's done. And you can upload the code without having to do that again. And then what I'm doing with the repository on my local machine is I'm adding, using Git, I'm adding a remote to say, well, this remote to Google is actually this location here. You'll notice it's got local amenities and my unique ID there, specifying where it's going to actually put the code in the bucket. And then once I've done that, I can then push all of that code up to Google. Pretty clear so far? Any questions? Anything unclear? Okay. So, once we've done that, we've actually got the code sitting actually on the Google Cloud Platform in the bucket. What we can then do is use something called the Cloud Shell. And what this does is it enables us to it gives us a command line interface to the cloud, and enables us to take the code that's actually now sitting in a GitHub project in the cloud and put it onto an instance, and then effectively be able to run that. So once I've done that, we can preview the application, and we do that using the command devappserver.py, and then once I've actually CD'd into the directory that contains the code on the instance, we can then do a preview of that, and it will bring up, very quickly bring up the web server, which we can then go and have a look at to see the application running in a kind of a preview mode. And once we've done that, we can quit that and go on and deploy it properly. In the Cloud Shell, we do that using this. And once we do this, it just goes away and deploys that in an instance somewhere else. But then we get a fixed URL, which we can use to then go to that instance at any time and basically use that application that's then being deployed. So one important point to mention is, once you're in the Google Cloud Shell, you can change the environment, you can use various commands, Linux commands, etc., just to set it up and configure it. But when you quit the Google Cloud Shell, it'll reset everything after 20 minutes. So the state gets lost effectively when you leave it. So let's do that now and see what happens. Okay. Right, so I've just gone to console.cloud.google.com, and I'll be presented with something that's a bit like this. I haven't created this project yet. We need to create a project first, which is going to host our code and manage our project. So, something like local amenity, and it's giving me a suggested unique ID there, like that. This took about 3 minutes yesterday. It didn't take that long today. So basically that's setting up an empty project. It's going to have nothing in it, but it means that we can upload code to it and manage that project. Getting there. Excellent. So it's now created the project. We can see that up here. And now what we can do is we can go to the main menu and go to development, all the way down here. You'll notice there's other aspects which you can actually interface here with the Google platform. You can see there's SQL, you can do some monitoring of the stack. There's some tools there you can use. And the one we really are after now is development. And to start with, we don't have any code uploaded. So what we need to do now is sort that out. So we're going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone the repository we were just looking at, which contains the local amenities code. Have I spelled that correctly? Okay, so we just cloned that from GitHub. We've got the code here now, so we can see we've got the code which we were looking at just now. And now what we can do is we can initialize the G-Cloud. Now, the first time we do this, it looks slightly different and ask you for some credentials. I've already done this, but it's a straightforward process. So what I'm going to say is just reinitialize this configuration with new settings, as opposed to creating another set of credentials. And I'm going to say on the login, I'm going to use this account here. There we go. Okay, so we've now initialized that, and now what we need to do is to tell Git that when credentials are required, to direct them to G-Cloud, like that. Now, I'm going to add a remote on my GitHub project locally called Google, and that's going to point to now here I have to remember to put in my unique ID for the project, and then once we've done that, we just need to push all of that to our remote GitHub sitting in the cloud, and away it goes. It does that. So it's now uploaded that clone project up into the cloud. So what you can do is you can develop your application locally, you can test it. You can even use a G-Cloud environment, I believe. I haven't done this, which actually gives you kind of sort of a sandbox to test your applications locally. And then you can upload them into the cloud, and then you can preview them, and then you can properly deploy them. So now we've got that sitting in the cloud. What we need to do is to get that onto an instance. So I've just gone and clicked on this button here, which gives us access to the Cloud Shell. Now I'm going to define a variable here just so I don't have to keep typing it in for where I want to put code. There we go. I'm going to put it in here. Oops. There we go. So we've already got the code uploaded into Google, but we need to get that sitting here. So what we do and then we specify the project, where it's going to be cloned into. Oops, didn't do that right. Okay, so it's going to put it in default because I didn't spell my directory correctly, my variable correctly, so I'm just going to do that again. Ah! Oh dear, it's been one of those days. There we go. Right. So now we should find, oh, there's one off the code. There's a few off the code there. So we'll go into the one we just deployed. We just got hold of. Let's see. That our code is now there. Okay. Right, so what we want to do next is to preview that actually in the cloud, just to see the application running, just to check that everything seems to be ship-shape. And we can do that by running a development app server to run that code. It looks like that. Now, this is actually running in the Cloud Shell that I'm running at the moment. So this is actually a process that's just serving up this application. And this is great for testing it. Really quick and easy. And there we go. Okay, so, did I do that right? Yes, I did. Good. So this is only a temporary deployment, sitting in the cloud. But you'll notice that I didn't have to do very much to get that run. Effectively, all I need to do was just put it in the cloud, put it on an instance, then do a web preview of that application. Run the development web server, then effectively just preview it. It's pretty straightforward. So we can see we have that running. There we go. Okay. Doesn't matter. Now, this version, I should point out, doesn't have the data in it. There is no data in this version. However, the application itself is running, even though it doesn't actually have any data to work with. But effectively, we've got that deployed and more or less working. So we've now previewed that. We use Control-C just to kill that development server. Now, what the next thing we need to do is, once you've done that a few times and got it working and everything seems to be hunky-dory, is then deploy that and have that running in the cloud. We can do that quite straightforward. Now, one thing I found I needed to do, if I don't do this, it whinges, is to comment out the first two lines there in order to get this working. It's possible, of course, that you'll find out the actual reason why that is the case. So, now the other thing is here is that I can't actually, using my wondrous Mac keyboard, is use a hash symbol. I can't actually use my keyboard to put a hash symbol into this, which is really annoying to put a comment in, to comment out these lines. So I have to copy it from the command line. Just put it in like that, and then we save that new app.yaml file. And then what we can do is we can deploy it. So what we do in the Cloud Shell is we tell gcloud we want to deploy an application, and we give it that app.yaml. And then we say 47788. And we're telling it the project that we wish to deploy. And then that goes away. Thinks about it for a little while. Do we want to continue? Yes. But it's telling me the URL where it's going to be deployed. So I'm just going to copy that URL. There we go. For later. Do we want to continue? Yeah, go on then. Right. Now that's going away. And it's synchronizing all of these files to the cloud storage bucket somewhere. It's done the upload. Now updating the service to so it's able to run. This bit can take a little while. So whilst that's actually chugging away, any questions? No? Okay, alright. So now we have that deployed, we can now go and have a look at that. And there it is. And that application is now sitting in the cloud. Now, the other thing we can do is, let's assume it's been running for a little while, and obviously it hasn't, but I'm just going to poke around a bit, do a couple of things. This won't work, but I'm going to put it in anyway. Okay, fine, no problem. Right, now what we can also do is we can go and check our quotas as well and just see how that's actually going. So not that one. There it is. So I go to this admin page. And I can actually exit the cloud, gcloud shell, the cloud shell there. I can go to quotas. Right, there are no quotas to give an option. I don't think it's been running long enough to actually populate any quota information. However, here's one I prepared earlier. So you can see here quite a lot of quota information here. This was after it was running for probably a few hours or something. You can see we've had 35 requests to the service. no daily quotas on that. The outgoing bandwidth, 0.0021 gigabyte, no problem. We've had 21 secure requests to the service, counting the bandwidth of the secure traffic as well. We can see that in terms of quota, we've used 0.0042, 28 instant hours. Actually, that wasn't 2 hours, was it? So we're actually doing quite well there. And so on and so forth. And it'll give you some idea of quotas in terms of storage and other things as well. It's quite comprehensive. So by default, we'll only show you the quotas that are currently being used. But if you want to know more, you can click on the button. It'll give you a whole sheet of the quotas and other operations and things you can do with the Google App Engine. Okay, so that's a quick sort of brief tour of how to get something working using it. Any questions?
If you can install G-Cloud locally, what's the advantage of using the Cloud Shell? Because you can run all of those commands on your local machine.
Yeah.
So, is there an advantage to running it in the Cloud Shell?
I did it just so I could actually get the SDK deployed locally. But I could have done all of that, you're right. Actually sitting in the G-Cloud and done the cloud and everything. But let's assume...
Or even locally, you could have done if you've installed these.
Yeah. That's true. So I could have done either. I decided just to do both and get it working that way. You're right. But yeah, so you could just do everything on the local machine using G-Cloud if you wanted to. I decided to get that working sort of locally and then put it into using the G-Cloud shell and then get that working from there. But you don't have to do all of that. You're quite right. Good point.
Okay, but I'm just wondering if there's a technical advantage or some specific reason.
No, not in this case. Yeah, you're quite right. Okay. So, right, any other questions? No? Okay. So, right, so next Tuesday, 12 p.m. lecture is actually very important. I just need to remind you. So, I don't know if they've mentioned this yet, but there's going to be a Q&A, a general Q&A about the group coursework assignments. So this could be quite important. This is an opportunity for you to ask any questions you need, anything you're unclear on with the group coursework. So think about what you need to know, have a chat with the group, decide on questions, the things you're unclear on, things you need to find out. And of course, even if you don't have any questions, attending the lecture is very important because you might find out some other information that other people are asking. You get the answer to those questions as well, which could be useful to you. So yes, please attend the next lecture, Tuesday at least. Okay, and that's it. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
You mentioned earlier about using Python libraries that aren't included in part.
Yeah.
What's the best way to do that? Is it just include it in the root directory, or can you use PyPy in some way to...
Oh God. Yeah, I don't know if you can use PyPy. I don't think you might. That's a good question. That's something you'd have to look into.
Okay.
One thing you could do, of course, is just have a lib directory sitting on the server and just find your Python libraries in there, and then just use those. That would probably be the easiest first instance to do it. Yeah, that might be the easiest way to control what's going on. But yeah, something to look into. Good question. Anything else? No? Okay, well, thanks very much, and good luck to Google App Engine.